colors, colors, colors. I was laughing at this because I was looking at the camera and I've got. Shout out to my friend Chosen Stitch that did these for me, and so I have like the blue, the chair is like an orange, the Bible's like an orange. This is like a green. The chair's kind of yellow, I think. Yeah, it's kind of like a mustard. Which is funny because the thing that we were talking about at church today, and this is kind of what I want to dive into, is like a mustard seed and how something so small can grow a tree so massive. And we just have to trust the process because the Lord is doing work in the background and we are more than likely not understanding it or seeing it. And so I wanted to take this opportunity to dive a little bit into my particular faith structure. So I believe I'm more aligned with like the Holy Spirit side of things, like a spiritual side of things. I don't really necessarily align with like organized religion just because I haven't gotten that far yet, and I don't like how some people respond when it comes to what particular religion you are. But then also too, I shouldn't shut off because of the opinions or the way humans handle it, especially now knowing more than ever because I'm involved in the church and all these things like that. A lot of people just use it as like a cop out to be kind of shitty, honestly, if I'm being honest. And they aren't really practicing 100% of what the Bible says. And I've noticed that because is First Thessalonians 5, I believe is what it is. Towards the end, it's the last instructions. It says to make sure that no one like fights evil with evil. Make sure that like help guide the disheartened. Make sure that we have patience with people. Make sure, yeah, not evil with evil. So like there's really good instructions in this on how to act. And so when I see someone act outside of like the biblical type of character, I just kind of know that they're not really practicing what they need to be practicing. So I don't really entertain around that much longer, and I just kind of let it be. I study the person and I see, are they open to new information? How are they looking at this? Do I feel comfortable enough to share a different perspective with this person? And so that kind of lets me kind of know where I'm at with everything when it comes to this. And so for me, this has been working. The reason why I chose this is because of the fact that, one, I have gone down the road without this level of faith or just faith in general. And I've done like the worldly things in a sense, like I've chased women, I've done drugs, I've done alcohol, I've had excuse me, I've had materialistic things, and every one of those particular things that I've experienced down this road has always left me feeling sort of empty. I've acquired something and then it's just kind of empty after I obtain it. Then I'm constantly chasing for something else to kind of fill this void, right? And so out of being kind of hopeless and being kind of lost and being found at a point in my life where I was lost. Simple as that. I had obtained money and the career and that didn't fit. I had the relationship and that didn't fit. And then I also had materialistic stuff and that didn't fit. And so I really honestly, out of like helplessness, I didn't have nothing else to try. And so I made a decision to just give faith a try, give God a try. And also I was at a low point in my life where I kept kind of the knocking at the door. Like I felt like God and faith and all this type of road was like knocking at the door for me to like answer. And I knew what it was, but I was scared of going that route because I always ran from it. I always made fun of the people that were like at church, like, oh, doing this, you know. I was like, that's kind of weird, honestly, if we're really being honest. And so it went against everything that I was taught. I also spent some time around church as a child being told to do that and being forced to do it with not really understanding kind of what the benefit is of it or how to leverage faith in my life. And so naturally I rebelled because I'm a rebellious person. And so now as I've gone through life and I've experienced so much and I've grown so much, and I've been in certain environments, and I've been around certain situations, I crave something bigger than me. I crave something a lot more fulfilling and like a spirit type of thing, right? And so these little dots and these little gems have drove me to just entertain faith, not necessarily church, because I have a different opinion when it comes to church. Um, I go for the word, and I go for the message, and I go for, I believe, what God is using the person delivering the sermon to speak to me. And so I don't really look at what's in front of me or where I'm at. I kind of just listen openly to what the message is and what thoughts come to me while I'm receiving this message, type of thing. I'll share a story with you that drove me to church. I was kind of questioning the season that I was in and trying to figure out some sort of like guidance, right? Like, where's the North Star in my life? And I was struggling with seasonal depression at the time. I didn't realize that was a thing, that I needed to work harder in that season of like December time frame, like a couple months before, like October, November, December, maybe January and February, like the time change. And so I was trying to do better in my life, and I was running a lot. And so I would have trouble running once I was up naturally, because the day was already gloomy and I already knew what kind of day it was going to be. So I had to work harder to find the motivation and work through the discipline to just do the run. Some people can do just get up, run, whatever. I'm not that structured. And so when it was sunny outside, it was a lot easier for me to get up and do something. But then when it was gloomy and overcast, I kind of struggled with it a little bit. So I would make it an effort to wake up before the sun and just go run. And so that way, by the time the sun came up, I couldn't decide on what mood I was going to be based on the sun, because I'm already out actively before the sun. And so that's how I kind of manipulated myself. Obviously, I learned that through my journaling, of just like being mindful of my moods and what kind of the weather might have played a mood, or taking in a little bit of the environment. So I knew a little bit about myself when it came to that season. And so this was probably like 3 years ago. And so I was running mid-run, and this is when I was running really aggressively. So I set out and I ran 4 miles, and I hit my turning point of the 4 miles to run the 4 back. And I hadn't been that active in my physical activity, so I started getting that like runner's rib pain, where you run and your ribs start to hurt. And so I slowed down to walk and just kind of catch my breath, and I noticed an older gentleman there, kind of looked like a military kind of stature, clean cut, kind of buzz cut type of feel, and he carried himself in a very stern, kind of like, intentional manner, right? And so he was training a dog, and kind of walked past, and I complimented his dog. I said, "Yo, this is a really nice dog. Like, super cool that you're training." Excuse me. That you're working on training. Seems to be like a very, just complimented this whole situation. It was pretty impressive, honestly. Judging by the way that he was doing that is kind of where I used the military thing to kind of come back to, or connect the dots, bridge the dots. And so we started talking, and I was like, it seems like this guy, clearly God was using this person to talk to me, in my opinion, because he hit so much about me, and what we were talking about was so right and so fitting for the season of life that I was in. He was telling me that, like, I need to not prioritize chasing these women and playing around with this stuff, and because I told him about a breakup and kind of what I was going through things a little bit, and so he kind of touched a lot around that, and obviously there was a level of wisdom that this guy had. And so I also explained to him that he was telling me, like, I don't believe that there's a reason why I'm sharing this with you, and there's a reason why God's using me to talk to you, because he's trying to reach you, but you don't have to believe me. Just why would you, don't take the old man that you see in front of you, take the message that's coming out and run with that. And so that's kind of what tapped in a little bit to me, and kind of like made it kind of weird. And I was just like, what is this? And why is this guy like saying all the right things? And so I shared with him a little bit about, I don't believe in coincidences anymore, because of the fact that it's been too close, it's been too surreal. And so I also explained to him that it was kind of like a divine type of thing that we crossed paths, because of the fact that I was working really hard to be up before the sun. because I thrive in the sun and not really in this gloomy overcast type of environment. And as soon as I said that, and we were pretty close as where we were talking, um, the clouds opened up just enough to make what I would put into example, like if I was on stage and someone that was like upstairs turned the light, old school, turned the light just at us, like the spotlight, and there's like that ring around us, like in the theater, it's all dark, and that ring around the person just like highlights the person. That's exactly what it felt like, because the clouds had opened up just enough within a split second shortly after I made the comment about having to work harder when the sun wasn't out because of that. And so like he and I felt it, and I got the chills, and he stops and he looks at me and he's like, if this isn't the validation you need that God is using you or trying to reach you, then I don't know what is. And that was a chilling thing for me that drove me more further to church. And then I had another 2 or 3 encounters, one vividly that I remember. I started going to a local church here. Some of you may or may not know if you're local, if you know me on a personal level. And I went one time just out of curiosity by myself, and I would just go and sit there by myself. And one time I went, and I had this very overwhelming sensation, and with the message that the pastor was talking about, and I just started crying. I cannot explain what happened to me in that moment, because it was just odd. I wish I can tell you that the leading things, like the things leading up to, and I don't even really remember exactly what the message was, but I think it was something along the lines of like searching for something and kind of being lost in a sense, and how God is beautiful in the sense that he like gives you purpose and gives you a place to fill this thing that I was searching for. And so like I was just really honestly overwhelmed by the emotions, and I lost my breath. And so I was like hyperventilating, and I was like a kid in trouble, right? And like I was just crying, and I was like, this is really weird and this is really embarrassing, and I'm one of these people in church now that I grew up to hate, or like I disliked or made fun of. I made fun of. That was the thing. I made fun of. And I made fun of them because I didn't understand it at the time. And so I called my buddy Jay, and I was like, yo, dude, please don't laugh at me. First, I talked to the pastor after the service, and I was like, how do you know when God's calling you? I feel like he's trying to talk to me, but I don't know what that looks like. And as I'm talking to this pastor, I'm like overwhelmed and like still emotional, and I'm at a loss for words, and I'm like crying and sniffling. And I watched his eyes, and his eyes gave very judging eyes. He was looking at my tattoos. He was kind of like sizing me up. And instantly, to be honest with you guys, I was like, kind of like, fuck this. I was like, this is why I don't come here. This is why I don't lean into this, because of these judging individuals that are looking at me like this, passing judgment. And he didn't really say anything. And I got a little frustrated, and I instantly got frustrated, and I closed off kind of what he was following up with, the questions that I had. And so I shut down, I finished, and I said thank you, and I left. And so I go sit in my truck, and I'm like still angry at it, and I'm resentful at the church experience, and I'm also resentful at this particular pastor because of how he responded when I was in a very vulnerable manner. But I knew I had a friend that was one of my other friends says in your God bag, in the Bible bag or whatever, in the faith bag, right? And so I knew a friend of mine that was in that bag already, and so I called him and I was like, yo, don't laugh at me, but I just had an experience at church, and I want to share it with you because I know you're a man of faith, and I know that I can talk to you about this. But man, I just sitting there and I got a message and I started crying, and I can't help but like it came over me, and I'm explaining to him how I was at a loss of breath and all this other stuff was going on, and he starts laughing. And if it wasn't for the fact that he was my friend, and I know that we have this level of like vulnerability, and I trust him, I kind of laugh with him because it's funny looking back telling this story. And he's like, he stops, and he's like, and I get quiet, right? And I'm like, yeah, man, I don't know. And he laughs, and he's like, dog, he's like, that's the Holy Spirit. And I'm going to tell you something. that the more you move into faith and the more you move into this season of your life and this particular um, faith structure that you're working on, it gets weirder because it doesn't start to make a lot of sense, but these things just kind of start happening. These little like subliminal messages start kind of popping up. And so because I know what I felt, excuse me, because I know what I felt, it has been the thing that I continue to want to learn more about. And so part of like the knuckles that you see on my hands, this one is a cross, but it's an acronym for, see, I'm trying to figure, I got the camera over there. There you go. So it's an acronym for see what God can do through you, like that, in that sense or whatever, right? And so that's what that stands for. And so this was a commitment for me to put this at the very beginning of my hands so that when I conduct business, when I do this, I'm almost in a sense vocalizing my commitment to faith. When people get baptized, they publicly announce their commitment to faith. Well, this was kind of sort of like my baptism. I haven't honestly gotten to the point of the Bible where it says anything about marking your body, so I'm not there yet. And so it is what it is for that season. But that's what drove me to faith. And so what I want to share with you guys is a little bit about how I use this. And I'm going to be honest with you guys, it's a lot simpler than I thought it used to be. I use a little bit of my journal, to be honest with you. I use this journal to just track my moods. I'm a lot more familiar now. I'll take this. One of my friends from the gym owner actually, he says that he doesn't need to count his macros anymore. He kind of has a general idea of the portion size that he can ballpark because he's gotten so proficient with it. So part of the journaling I don't do all the time, but I need to be consistent in it. But I'm a lot more aware to my moods because I have done the work. And so I don't use it as often, but I am focusing on using it to just track good days because I'm no longer really having kind of like bad gloomy days because of my faith system lets me know that it's okay. I'm just trying to be a lot more in tune with what areas I still struggle with because it's a constant struggle. It's not going to be perfect. This is going to be a long journey, and it's going to be small sentences that make paragraphs, that make chapters, that make pages, that make chapters, that make books, that tell a story. So like every little piece, every little word, every little drop of ink, every dot plays a vital role in the story of myself and the story of yourself. And so for me, taking note of these experiences and learning to understand myself, pairing that with faith when I'm lost or losing it or it doesn't make sense has been very, very beneficial for me. How I use this, I love the Bible because it's wisdom. There's a lot of wisdom in here. And for my particular faith system, this means very, very, this helps. It's my understanding right now. I'm walking this road long enough to see if this road honestly is bullshit or not. I've walked the the reckless road with the drinking, partying, doing all these worldly things in a sense. And I know that road has led me to nothing, just emptiness. It's been fun, right? It's been exciting and all this, but at the end of it is empty. And I honestly don't want emptiness anymore. So I'm trying this road long enough to make an honest judgment on this road to see if this road is actually worth staying on or if I need to find something else. And so I'm going into this with a very kind of like curious, what can I learn about this and how can I apply some of these things to my life? Because I knew the drinking, recklessness, all that. I've already had a DWI, I've been in legal trouble, I've done this, I've done that, done damage, done this, and just like leaving so much potential on the table. This side has proven to be a lot more beneficial. I have a lot more better tools. I have a lot more peace. I have a lot more understanding. I have a lot more happiness. I have a lot more purpose. I feel a lot more fulfilled in walking this road. So for me, and I'm not one of these people that's going to sit here and tell you how to live and how to do this and, shun you for not doing this or judging you for that, because the Bible says that do not do evil with evil and have patience with people and help guide the disheartened and all that. So if I'm really in the word and I'm practicing the word like I'm trying to, then I have to have patience with people. And if I force you to try to do something, that's not having patience with you. If I am really stern on my approach to this, that's not guiding the mishardened. And I needed this, but I ran from it because of how people pushed on it so aggressively. And then also I would watch them live kind of away from it. And so for me, I use this to help just navigate this new season of life. And so the point of this video is, that's the build up as to kind of like why I'm here. But now I want to show you guys how to use this. Let me grab them. I use these little like bookmark thingies, like they're the Post-its, like little page divider things, and I use them for different colors. And so, or not really necessarily different colors, but I just use them for what they are, right? And so then what I take is, I take the Bible, and you may not be able to see them. You might be able to. Yeah, there's a few right here, or right here. And so what I do is I grab one of those when I find something in this book that sits with me. And so I will pull one of these up and okay, so just check this out. This thing says, grace and peace be yours in abundance. And so that to me is kind of the quest that I'm on. I want ultimate peace in my life. And I want to practice grace for myself, but also for other individuals, because I'm going to continue to make mistakes, because this is a learning curve. This isn't something that I have figured out 100%, and no one's honestly perfect, right? And so the other thing that's in here that says, as obedient children, do not conform in evil desires you had when you lived in ignorance. And to be honest with you, that right there is perfect for the season to give an example of where I was and where I am now and where I used to be. And so the thing said, as obedient children, do not conform in the evil desires you had when you lived in ignorance. Well, when I was walking down that road, I'm trying to stay away from that and walk on this road, right? So that's another one that's like super good for me, right? And so let's go back and just find another one real quick. This particular one says, 1 Timothy, right? I've highlighted a lot. I write in this journal, this Bible. I highlight a lot of this stuff. And so I'll just read you some stuff right here that helped me. This particular one says, but women will be saved through childbearing if they continue in faith, love, holiness with prosperity. I can't read. Yeah, and so I don't know why I wrote that one. I think it was kind of like something relationship based. I think I was kind of looking at like kind of how to structure a relationship or something, right? Oh, I was looking for like, okay, the instructions of this was good. I think this was like more relationship based. And it said, therefore I want the men everywhere to pray, uplifting holy hands without anger or disputing. I also want the women dressed modestly with decency and propriety. I don't know how to say this word. I struggle, but I'm gonna look it up real quick. I know it's easy, but I'm obviously not pronouncing it right. Y'all gonna laugh at me because this is something so simple. Here we go. Definition. That's not proprietary. I spelled that shit wrong. Oops, I'm sorry. I'm trying to work on all this stuff. This is still a work in progress. It's gonna be a bit. Here we go. It is propriety. There you go. Let me turn the volume up. Propriety.
Propriety.
So propriety is the state or quality of conforming to conventional, acceptable standards, behaviors, and morals. And so I think what I was looking for this was like I was probably in a season of like interested in somebody, and I was looking at kind of like how they lived and what I should do, and kind of go from there. And that's kind of where I picked this up. The other thing that's on here says the goal is to command. The goal of this command is love, which comes from pure heart and good conscience and sincere faith. And so, anytime I have something that hits me in this book, I put this little thing, this page indicator here, and what I do is I just come back and pick it up. I use this faith system in times of high. I use this faith system in times of low, and I use this faith system in times of just kind of just going through it. Not like going through something, but just being consistent in my day to day, right? But I also use this, I try to use this in the mornings 100%. I practice gratitude, and I try to make it more of an effort to just study and start the day off in the Word. It makes it a lot easier for me. And so I also take this and I take something on here when I'm trying to understand the concept, not just take the selective verse from that particular book, but what I do is I actually go and I want to learn about the entire book itself. And so what I do is I use the Bible Project on YouTube, and I will search what that book is about, and it gives you a visual but also like an audio representation of a generalization of what that story is. And then that helps me kind of understand what's happening with this particular message and what is God using the particular person in that time for, right? And then I just leverage that. And so the Bible app also allows you to do this. And this is what I was talking to at Bible study today with some friends. So I just did it right earlier today, but can you see? Y'all can't see that. Oh yeah, you can. You see how it says stress up there on top? So I opened the Bible app, and on the little discover part on the bottom that's selected, like I think right here, that's got a little thing that says discover. And when you hit discover, it brings up that little search bar. And you can type in a mood, you can type in a feeling, whatever it is, right? You can put in there like hopelessness or lost or stagnant or whatever. And it'll actually give you like a section that says like this is the thing that says the Bible. So you can just click on the thing that says like see all. There it is. And it'll give you a ton of script in the Bible that allows you to kind of use to navigate the particular season, right? Somebody at the church was talking about stress. And so this says 1 Peter 5:7, casting all your anxiety on him because he cares for you. What is it? Psalms 119. Trouble and anguish have come upon me, yet your commandments are my delight. Isaiah 21:15, for they have fled from the swords, from the drawn sword, and from the bent bow, and from the press of battle. 2 Timothy 3:1, but realize this, that in the last days difficult times will come. And so when I find myself, regardless of what's going on, especially in a low, so that I don't lose myself and divert back to that other road that I used to use, like alcohol and all this other worldly stuff to try to like fill the void, I lean into this. And this is how I use this faith system. And so I hope this helps. I don't want to dive too much deeper into this because this is still something new to me that I'm still learning and I'm trying to apply in my life. But I have found the most peace in this because my head and the thoughts in my mind, I can do really good with spiraling out of control and creating all these like false realities in my head. And I'm very creative. And so using this has allowed me to put faith in something bigger than me. And so I'm not going to sit here and tell you to use this, but find something that gives you this level of like, okay, it's going to be okay because if I trust in the word and I do right, then this is exactly what it says, right? Plans fail for lack of counsel, but with many advisors, they succeed. And so I think this is kind of something where I was looking at like, when I don't counsel God about what I was doing and in my plans, then it's probably going to fail because I'm not putting it in God's hands. And all this is just working on this level of a vulnerable relationship with this, because I've experienced all the things without it, and that's been scary. And so I just want to find something a little bit more spiritually fulfilling here that allows me to be more positive and be of more use to serve other people and kind of help them find this level of positivity as well. And it's not in a sense that it gives you all the answers right now, but it allows you at least to sleep because you know that it's going to work itself out. And that's kind of how I use it. It's not to find the answers exactly word for word, but it's to take the pressure off and put faith into something. Kind of like a belt, kind of like a favorite pair of jeans, kind of like your GPS. Like, we don't question the integrity of that, right? That favorite pair of jeans, unless it gets some holes in it, it's gonna fit the same way, with the exception of when you get it out of the dryer, you got to kind of like wear it around the house for a little while so that it gets back into that shape, right? That favorite pair of shoes or whatever it is, right? Like, we all have something that we just subconsciously just go through and forget that we're doing it through muscle memory. That's kind of the thing that I'm trying to work on, is have the muscle memory when it comes to this. Feeling a mood. Don't know what to do. Let's go seek some counsel and some wisdom in this, and let's apply this in our lives and see if it works. And so far, it's been working for me. I've been making the more success in my business. My brother's growing in his business. The family's growing. The people around me are growing. There's a shift in like energy of positivity and all that. And a lot of it is because of me, honestly. Like, I know it's okay, and people are also looking for this. And sometimes I think he's trying to use us to help be the light in certain rooms, right? In certain areas. There's a sense of hopelessness around, and I think people are craving something a little bit more. And so if I can take care of this stuff for me and show other people around me kind of how this works and how I use this, then maybe that'll be the thing that, like, my calling in a sense, right? And so it's just to find a deeper, more purposeful, aligned path to doing life. And so that's it. I'm gonna leave it there because I can run on forever. So I hope this helps. Not gonna push this on you. This just works for me. Find something that works for you. If you believe in cards, you believe in statues, you believe in whatever it is, entertain it. Entertain it long enough to to validate that the faith system and the structure you have is giving you this like internal fulfillment, and you're not basing your fulfillment on something else external. Something that's got to be like here. And so giving me this fulfillment here has allowed me to wake up and be more grateful, has allowed me to be more positive and more excited about the future and the changes and the things that are coming, because I know that at the end of it all, my faith system has shown me that it's going to be okay when I put faith in this. And so that like removes I use this concept, like I used to carry my gun with me everywhere and all the time, and I knew that I had the confidence because I trusted this gun to be able to eliminate any threat that may have crossed me. But now I have like the spiritual gun here. I still take my gun with me because I know evil is real, but I have internal peace and I sleep better at night knowing that it's going to be okay when I put it in God's hands. And so I hope this helps. If you enjoyed this, if you took something away from this, if this helped you in any way, 2 things that I asked for, like, comment or share and subscribe. All that stuff helps. But also too, if you're in the Houston area and you need anything real estate related, I'm a full-time real estate agent, and so please just send me a call or send me a text message, or not call. My phone number's not even on there. Just send me a message. I'll put my email or something on the details that way. And if you just have any questions more on this, I think this is what we're supposed to do, is become better so that we can kind of like provide some sort of like stewardship or wisdom to other individuals and kind of help them find this level of like purposeful spiritual fulfillment, in my opinion. Peace.